Hello and welcome to the OTB channel. The Linux ecosystem is increasingly crowded. There are hundreds of distros literally competing for attention from users such as yourselves. Some of them are worthwhile, some of them are little more than respins with adapted themes and wallpaper perhaps, but essentially the same as other things. Which category does Feren OS fall into? Well, today we're going to take a look. Join me after the intro. Hello, welcome back. So in the last week I've been digging around into the Linux ecosystem to see what exists, and we have hundreds of options to try. Many of those are respins of popular distros such as Ubuntu and Mint and Debian, and there are some real pearls in there. I mean, Linux Mint was a respin originally of Ubuntu, and that's superb as a distro. Debian, of course, is the granddaddy of many distros, and we have things like MX Linux, which provides its own unique take on Debian. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it, it's been quite easy to create a respin. And there are some out there that do little more than add customized themes and a bit of wallpaper that looks different to the standard distro, but they don't really provide anything that you couldn't quickly do yourself. So some of them aren't really worth it. Others, though, have a uniqueness that sets them apart and really makes them something special. Which brings us to Feren OS. Now, this is a distro that I've never tried before. I've read quite good reviews. It was originally based on Linux Mint, and it used a customized version of the Cinnamon desktop. The latest release, however, uses a heavily customized Kde Plasma desktop environment, and it was only released back in January, so I thought I'd take a look. A few of you have commented that it was worthwhile looking at, so join me. Let's start off though by going to the split screen and having a look at the website. So here we have a very nice looking website. I believe Feren OS is a British distribution. I don't know if it's based in Northern Ireland, but the fact that it's British I would like it to be something really special. Whether or not it will be is something we'll find out in a minute. So it's built with user friendliness in mind. It's got a heavily edited KDE desktop and provides a unique user experience by default. Okay, well that's great. What is different to Feren OS from its base distribution? And Feren actually has a go at answering this right from the word go. He poses the question, isn't Feren OS just yet another Ubuntu? Which is what I was really trying to say before. Is it just an Ubuntu that's been lightly customized in some ways? But no, apparently not. It's technically based on Ubuntu, and it's got the Linux Mint repos in there as well. But it's more than just that. It includes a whole range of changes to the standard KDE Plasma desktop, including the simple menu rather than the standard KDE menu. There are changes made to the default software. There are a range of patches applied to the default Plasma experience, a number of system tweaks, and a very, very unique approach to the default applications. Okay, well, all good so far. So, if we go to the Get Feren OS, we see that there are actually two distros here for download. The top one, Feren OS, is the one with the new Plasma desktop installed. And the second one is what they call Feren OS Classic, which is the original Cinnamon desktop. Well, I decided that, you know what, I am just going to install the brand new one, although I have noticed that this is 64-bit only, so if you need a 32-bit system, you would need to download Feren OS Classic. But I've downloaded it. Let's set it up in a virtual machine and see what we think. First things first then, I've just set up Feren OS in Virtualbox. I'm just booting it in standard BIOS mode for simplicity. It booted straight away, no issues whatsoever, and it's gone straight to full 1920 by 1080 resolution, which was brilliant. And I'm greeted with this screen. We've detected virtual machine hardware. Okay, install the guest editions. Let's do that. This is the first time I've ever seen this in a distro, and Virtualbox guest editions can be a nuisance. So the fact that it's prompting me to install them on the live CD is a definite plus before we go any further. So let's let it get on with that, and we'll come back in a second. Right, well that was quick enough, so let's follow along by hitting next, and it asks us what do we want? The default theme, the light theme, or the dark theme? I'm going to stick with the dark theme. Next. Right, passion led us here. First impressions, a really nice, clean looking desktop, but we won't actually go through that for the time being. We'll go straight for the install and see what happens from there. I'm just interested what's on there. Okay, it's just a standard menu. So let's install Feren OS, where I'm presuming we're going to get, is this a Ubiquity? Is it Calamaris? It looks a little bit like Calamaris, but I could well be wrong, and I see we have transparency enabled. It's spotted that it's a British English installation. Right, not many do that right from the get-go. But unfortunately, it's picked my locale as New York. Okay, so Europe, Dublin. Well, not really. Let's go for London and click next. English UK keyboard. Right, let's just do a erase entire disk and set up my name and login. So we'll go for the normal OTB. And log in automatically without asking for the password. No, I don't want to do that, so let's just click next. It gives us an overview of what it's going to do. We'll click install. Are you sure? Yes, please. And off it goes. And I'll speed this bit up, and we'll come back once it's finished. It's 12:06 now, so a good time to see how long it takes. Right, so we're all done. 12:14, so that took, what, 8 minutes? Which is fine. What I'm going to do now is shut this down. I'm going to make sure the ISO image is unmounted from VirtualBox. I'll reboot, and we'll see you on the other side. Right, so I've rebooted into the installed system, and it booted very quickly. And I've been greeted by what looks to me like light DM. In fact, the Light DM Slick Greeter, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just log in and see what happens. I'm wondering whether we will go straight to that Virtualbox Install dialog again. At the moment, we're not getting anywhere. We've just got the little welcome icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, as presumably it sets itself up. And here we go. Welcome to Feren OS. Hit start. Right, well, let's hit start then. Yes, it's detected virtual machine hardware again. And yes, I'm going to install, and this time it's asking me for my root password or my password. So let's do that. And click OK. And we'll just wait for that to do its stuff, and I'll come back. Right, so that took a little bit longer that time. I suppose initially when I booted the live CD, because it booted straight into a full HD screen, technically I didn't need the VirtualBox guest editions, but I thought it was great to actually see that there. But okay, so they're installed. Let's hit next. Get third-party codecs for many types of videos, music and more. Right, so it gives us the option. Well, let's just hit install. And we'll let it do its stuff again. Right, that took literally no time. I think it's a great idea. You may want to run a totally free system where you're not having third-party codecs, and you have the option to do that. If you want them installed for various music and video formats, well, go ahead and do it. The choice is yours. So let's hit next. Choose a desktop layout that you prefer. Tablet mode, the familiar layout, the Redmond layout, the Cupertino layout, the Ubuntu Unity layout, which we can change at any point. Do you know, I'm just going to stick with the default for the time being, but I am going to go for that dark theme. And I'm going to click next. Pair your Feren OS machine with your Android device through KDE Connect. Well, I haven't got my Android phone with me, so I'm just going to hit next. Reduce eye strain at night. So if I wanted to configure that, that's brilliant. I can just hit that, but I'm just going to hit next for now and enjoy. So here we are at the desktop, and immediately we have a welcome screen with a link to a user guide. Let's just hit that and see where it takes us. Nowhere at the moment. Right, so it's opening up a web browser, and we have a full user guide there. Installing the classic, using, gaming, making it your own. I really like that. And this is the Vivaldi Web Browser, I believe, which is default in Feren. If I click on that, I've never actually used Vivaldi before. But fine, I'm not quite sure what it's built on. Familiarity. Right, customization. It expands on its global theme to allow it to better change the way your desktop looks. Okay, desktop layout for change. Well, let's just click on desktop layout and see what it says. Right, so this is a link to get us straight into the different desktop layout modes we were offered earlier. What about the global theming? Right, so Breeze Dark, Feren OS Dark, which is what we're on at the moment, and a couple of others. Get new global themes. Let's see what it has to offer. Right, Mojave. So make it look like a Mac desktop. I think these are standard KDE themes. But okay, I like that. I like that it's all there right from the word go. Settings. Let's have a look at system settings. With Kde Plasma, because I've not really used Kde Plasma, I have no muscle memory about where things are, so I'm really approaching this like a new user. But that would appear to give us a whole range of different options. I know that initially one of my issues with KDE back in the day was there was just so many settings that you could apply that it became actually quite complicated. I don't know what people feel about that. At the time, those of us who used GNOME 2 liked the simplicity of GNOME 2. Those people who like KDE liked the fact that you could configure absolutely anything. But hey-ho, that's there if you want. Keyboard shortcuts. Okay. Are we at the end? Let's go to customization. Yeah, and we go back to the main screen. So I think that's quite a useful little welcome screen that takes you through the process of just getting the desktop looking like you'd want. So let's see what we've got here. I'm not quite sure what the logo is meant to be. Is it something to do with a Farren? I'm not sure, to be honest, but let's have a look. In education, we've got LibreOffice Math. Graphics, we've got Critter, Ocular, Photos, and Simple Scan. On Internet, Vivaldi, LBRY, KDE Connect, and a little web browser icon. Let's just see what that is. Oh, that's really quite innovative. What do you want to install? Do you know, I've never installed the Brave browser before. I've never even seen it. Let's just see how it installs. There are an awful lot of respins of Ubuntu base, of the Ubuntu base. And I haven't got a problem with respins. But in order to make it something worthwhile to install rather than just Ubuntu or Mint, it's got to offer something slightly different. And my first impression of Farren is that it is offering me a range of things that are just slightly different. The fact that I can install the web browser of my choice right from the get-go is a nice little feature. It's not a deal breaker, but it just makes things comfortable. Brave was successfully installed. Okay, so let's close that. And let's go to the internet, and the Brave web browser is now installed. And there we go. Let's continue looking through this. So, multimedia. So we have Cheese and VLC. Well, VLC is, of course, the ultimate media player as far as I'm concerned. I use it constantly every day. In producing videos, I would pick 3 or 4 applications that are essential to me. Obviously, OBS Studio, Kden Live, VLC, and to a lesser extent, GIMP. I don't think GIMP's installed on here, but clearly it's easy enough to get. Office. Right, so it has the LibreOffice suite there, which is a sensible option. I'm not sure what Ocular is. Let's have a quick look. Right, so it's a thumbnail manager, I presume. About Ocular. A universal document viewer. So I'm assuming this is what allows you to see PDFs and the like. Let's go down to settings. Feren maintenance. Right, it's just a prompt here. So let's enter my password and see what happens. Welcome to the Maintenance Check tool. This will be used to look for certain issues with your Feren OS install. Would you like to begin? Yes, I would. Let's see what it does. Naught issues was or were found and hopefully fixed. Press enter. Do you know, that's a nice... it's something that appeals to me, a really quick way of getting the system to itself look and see if everything's going well. The firewall, I might be wrong in assuming this is UFW, but let's have a look. It is UFW with the GUFW GUI attached. Let's just hit status on. One of the things that is a little bit of a bugbear for me is I do think that distros, when you first install them, that have a firewall already installed should be on by default. I know it's not as much of an issue with Linux as it is in Windows, and I'm pretty sure that one of the reasons firewalls aren't turned on by default is that if people install services such as SSH, etc., the firewall may stop that working properly because it blocks it, because that's what it's meant to do. And you would have to go into the firewall configuration to create a rule, which is very easy to do in GUFW. But if you're brand new to the system, you may not quite know how to do that. But that isn't Farren specific. That's the same with just about everyone. What else have we got? Set your languages, your login window. Let's have a look at the login window. Okay, that's nice and easy. I don't know if this is what you get as standard in Plasma, but to me it feels quite different from the Plasmas I've seen before. The welcome screen, the update manager, and a little icon to send feedback, which takes you, by the look of it, straight onto the Feren OS Weebly.com website. Great. So let's open the menu again. That was settings, theme color. Let's open up that. What would you like to do? Chosen DE Plasma. Create a new theme or remove an existing theme. Okay, I don't want to do that. We've got a driver manager. I just want to cancel. Can we cancel that, please? Yeah. I've got a driver manager there. Let's give that a go and see what happens. See if it finds anything. I very much doubt it will, given that I've already installed the VirtualBox guest editions. But worth seeing. You need to restart the computer to complete the driver change. I don't know what it's changed, so I'm just going to come out of that. What else is in system? Info center. Total physical memory, it's 8 gigs. Free physical memory, 4.34. Shared memory, okay. I think from that information, I'm just going to run htop in a minute. I don't know if htop is installed, but we'll find out in a second and install it if necessary. What else is here? There's the store, Synaptic Package Manager, always good to see. The transfer tool. And what is the transfer tool? Let's have a look. Welcome to the Feren OS transfer tool. Please choose one of the 2 options available to proceed. You can also back up data from Windows. Okay, that's nice. What else have we got here? The update manager, the welcome screen, and then if we go to utilities, we have the standard sort of things. Okay, right, well, let us open a console. I doubt htop is already here. No, it's not. So sudo apt install htop. And we'll see how it's doing as far as memory is concerned. $790 megs. Not bad for a virtual machine. Also not bad for a virtual machine where I've been opening and closing apps. But the new version of Plasma is meant to run quite light. I last looked at Plasma, I think, when I looked at the latest version of Ubuntu. That surprised me, given it had been many years since I'd used Plasma previously, at just how much it's come on in its maturity and how light and snappy it felt. This feels incredibly light and snappy. I do like those icons. I like the way it looks. I think there is enough customization here to justify it as an independent distro. And for someone new to Linux, I think this would be a fine distro to install. And for those more experienced old hacks like myself, who were looking at testing out a Plasma desktop, this sort of appeals to me because it comes across as quite clean. It's on the Ubuntu base. In fact, software sources. Have we seen the software sources? Let's just have a quick look. Software sources. Let's see what they are. So the Ubuntu base is Bionic, and it's also linking to Linux Mint Trisha. Any PPAs there? There's one for LibreOffice, and there's one for Noobs Labs. I'm not quite sure what that one's about. Additional repositories: Brave, Google, Vivaldi, and WineHQ. Okay, so there's a few extra bits and pieces installed there, but not a massive amount. I presume we have a software store here. You can obviously install through Synaptic if you wanted to. Let's just search for store. Right, and see what's there. Will this be Flatpaks? I'm assuming it will be. It's generating its software cache, and I quite like the way that's already themed. And you get the option here to install anything you want to do very easily without having to go to Synaptic or without having to go to the command line. Do you know, that's all I'm going to do on Feren OS. My impression is pretty positive. I like it. Let's go and have a chat. So that's Feren OS. And to be honest, I'm blown away. I really liked it. I like the look and feel. And deep down, I didn't really expect to because I'm not a KDE Plasma fan. The last KDE that I liked was Mepis, really. So I had some reservations about trying this. But no, I mean, I really liked the way it was laid out. It was a nice, clean look to it. The new simple menu is great. I like the little tweaks such as that browser chooser menu at the beginning and getting the option to install VirtualBox right from the get-go was something special. I really like it. I think, yes, it's on a good base. It's on an Ubuntu base and a Mint base, and so it's going to be as solid as the day is long. And if you like the look and feel, I would certainly consider it a realistic option, especially if you're a Mint user and you used to like the old KDE version, which no longer exists. It's a viable option for you. The developer, and I think it's a one-man outfit, Feren OS, or maybe a couple of guys, they've put a huge amount of work into this. It's really polished. I was impressed. And I would actually consider installing this OS. And given that it's still down at number 50 in the distro watch charts for what that matters really, I'm quite surprised that it's not more popular. Having said that, there's a lot of competition out there, but this is certainly one to try. I would go as far as to say that of the distros that I've looked at over the last 5 or 6 months, and there's quite a lot of them, that it's certainly in the top 3 or 4. So we've got a good result for Feren OS, and I hope it goes from strength to strength. It's certainly worth trying. Guys, that's it for today. I'll be doing a video again on Saturday. In the meantime, don't forget to join me on LBRY, and also don't forget we do have an OldTechBloke Facebook group. If you'd like to join us, we're fast approaching 30. I know, big numbers. And I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks, and hope you enjoyed the video.